Hello and welcome to a brand new series on a brand new channel. This is just a quick challenge we're going to have a go at to keep us going until FM18, also to get a bit of practice at this whole YouTube thing. I've been wanting to do this for absolutely ages. I thought I'd actually give it a go. So here we go. We've decided to have a go at the Director of Football challenge. So it's something a bit different from a long-term save. So basically the rules for a Director of Football challenge are: we have to let the Director of Football / Chairman make all the important decisions for the club. The Director of Football will control all the transfers for both first team and youth team players. The Chairman will be in charge of hiring or firing the Director of Football. Director of Football will also be in charge of hiring all staff, so we don't have any say in any of that. So we can choose any team at any level. As we're only going to do a fairly short-term save in time for FM18 coming out in a few months, we're not going to start too low down, so I was thinking we're going to probably start in the Championship, hopefully work our way up to the Premier League. So if there's no Director of Football at the club, you have to delegate all the duties to the Chairman until he decides to hire a Director of Football. Our only input in transfers is we can add players to the transfer list or loan list, but then it's up to the Director of Football to try and sell or loan out any of these players. So, as you can see, we've decided to take over Sheffield Wednesday. I wanted to pick a fairly local team to myself, but like I said, I didn't want to go too low down because it's only going to be a short-term save. So I thought hopefully if we take over Sheffield Wednesday, we can hopefully try and restore a bit of glory, get them back up to the Premier League. If we just have a quick look at the club, they've not actually been up into the Premier League since the 99-2000 season, which is quite a while ago now. So yeah, so the objectives, as well as abiding to the Director of Football rules, we're going to try and get them back up into the Premier League. We're going to try and then establish them into a decent Premier League team, hopefully push our way up the table, maybe qualify for some European football, and then ultimately we're going to try and win the Premier League with Sheffield Wednesday. The only things I'm actually going to be in charge of during this save is the tactics, team selection and training. So another thing is, seeing as I'm not going to have much say over transfers, bringing new players into the club, I'm going to actually try and focus on youth. I do try and do this when I play a normal save, but it tends to go out the window a little bit. I'll just go out and buy some first team players, and a lot of the time the youngsters don't really get much of a look in. There's going to be youth players coming through with youth intakes, etc. So we're going to actually have a bit of say about which of these players get a chance in the first team. I'm going to try and do some of the youth team training as well as the first team training. I've not really done any training before, other than the last few weeks I've had a quick go at it. So it's going to be interesting to see if I can actually get any decent results out of this. But yeah, with a bit of extra time on our hands, since the Director of Football is going to be in charge of all the scouting and all the negotiating for players, which usually takes up most of my pre-season, I'm going to actually have a bit of time to work on some decent tactics and hopefully get really into the training and hopefully find some get some decent results. Okay, so in terms of tactics, normally I like to try and build a tactic around the players available to me, and it does seem that certain tactics seem to work better than others on different versions of FM. Sometimes wingers are amazing, other times they're not really that effective. I know there's a few different tactics that seem to work in this year's version of FM. So I am actually going to be using a tactic that I've used before on previous saves for this one, just to get us started. This may change further in the season depending on which players we end up buying, what players we've got at the club. But to start off with, I'm going to try this tactic. So it's basically a 4-2-3-1. I've got an away, I've got a home formation, away formation, and then a kind of defensive last 10 minutes of the game formation. And they're all the exact same positions, same roles. It's just the team instructions that change. So we can have a quick look at those. So start on standard. We've got look for overlap, work ball into the box, pass into space. We like to play the ball out of defence, exploit the flanks, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, use tighter marking. We're fairly narrow, don't use much width, normal tempo, closing, time wasting sometimes, closing down more. So that's basically the standard tactic we use at home, and then away against the bigger teams we switch from standard to counter. It is quite similar, just a little bit more defensive, more counter-attacking, sit behind the ball. But both of these formations do give us a lot of possession, and we create a lot of chances with these. Well, on previous clubs anyway. We don't know how this is going to work with Sheffield Wednesday. I suppose we'll find out in the next few weeks. See how we get on. Okay, so let's have a quick look at this squad. So we'll just sort them in terms of position first. So we've got a couple of goalkeepers, not many defenders to be honest. We've got a few wingers at the club, all seem to be left wingers for some reason. A few right wings over there, so we've got a fairly balanced squad. We've got quite a few strikers. I'd say probably we need to improve the defence if anything. Let's see who our better players are. So Fernando Forestieri, 4-star ability, 4-star potential. So he's probably going to be our main striker. See, we do like to play with a complete forward in our formation, so rather than a false 9. So hopefully get him a bit of training on that. Hopefully he'll be decent in that position. His stats look pretty decent to be honest for this level. Valued at 9.75 million. Wow. Okay, who else we got? So we've got Marco Matthias, attacking midfielder right. Injured for 10 to 11 months, so he's probably not going to play much in the first season. So we've got a few decent first team players. In terms of potential, not much in the first team other than what they've already got. So yeah, let's go have a quick look at the under 23. So we have got a few players with a bit of potential here, maybe some 4-star players coming through. And then under 18s, same again, probably 1 or 2 decent players coming through. So we are going to try and exploit these youth teams a little bit, see if we can build up a few decent players, especially while we're still in the Championship. Hopefully we won't be there for too long, but you never know. See how we get on this season. So in terms of finances, the overall balance for the club's 4 million. Transfer budget just is £1 million. We're currently spending 584,000 on wages, £600,000 wage budget, so we've got a bit of room for manoeuvre there. So hopefully our director of football can go out there and get us a few players in. I have tried one of these before, and it can be a little bit random, the players they decide to buy for you. Sometimes I've had it before, they'll go out and buy you 4 right backs for some reason, and then nobody else. So clearly they thought we were lacking in some quality right backs, but that's a bit overkill. So hopefully we will get a few decent signings. One problem is that at the minute we don't actually have a director of football, so for the time being the chairman's going to have to take control of all these different jobs and responsibilities. Let's have a quick look on there. So all these responsibilities, transfers, incoming, outgoing, contract renewals, scouting, they're all going to be left to the chairman for now, and hopefully fairly soon he'll hire a director of football and then they can take over all those. So I'll change all those off camera, and then yeah, I'll take control of all the training, youth development, that kind of stuff. And yeah, so I think I'll leave it there for now. That's just a bit of an introduction to the club, and then yeah, we'll get set up, hopefully get a director of football ready for the next episode, have a few friendlies, and then we might, let's have a look at the schedule. So we'll probably bring it back for the next episode for the first game of the season against Aston Villa. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode, and if you did like it, obviously click that like button, that'd be very much appreciated. And yeah, see you next time. Thanks a lot.